Para sa mga kwento ng pagbangon at pagiging kampeon ng mga atleta, ako si Jed Eva, ang chairman ng Nowhere to Go But Up Foundation.
And para talakayin ng mga hamon at pagbabago sa industriya, ako naman si PG Galang, miyembro ng Nowhere to Go But Up Board of Trustees, and we are your hosts.
Mga ka-sports, samahan nyo kaming pag-usapan ang mundo ng pampalakasan. Whether it's about historic events in sports, the changes and challenges in the industry, or just to highlight outstanding athletes, this show is for you.
And this is where we talk about our love for the game, your one-stop shop for everything sports, athletes, and the leagues. We will get into the works and ways. We will dive deeper into different stories for the fans, by the fans. This is TVUP, and we bring you
Inside the games.
Right now, I want us to delve deeper into one of the gravest issues in the sports industry, match fixing.
So, ano ba yung match fixing, no? Match fixing is the illegal act of manipulating the outcome of a game or sports event for financial gain, no? Such as benefiting from bets placed on predetermined results. Ito yung sinasabing pagluluto ng resulta, no? It undermines the fairness of competition and a serious violation of sports ethics.
Naalala ko, noong 2019, a significant case of match fixing occurred in the Maharlika Pilipinas Basketball League or MPBL, causing a major controversy in Philippine sports. So, ano lang, recent lang ata yun, diba? So, let's take a closer look at what happened in this video. The Maharlika Pilipinas Basketball League was shocked by a game-fixing scandal that led to criminal charges against coaches and players under the Presidential Decree 1602 in relation to Presidential Decree 483. These individuals were accused of intentionally fixing game results for financial gain. The scandal was uncovered during the investigation of a 2019 game between the Soxargen Marlins and their opponents, where several players were allegedly paid to manipulate the outcome. In February 2024, a member of the Senate revealed that 47 people had been banned from the MPBL. The charges filed by the MPBL were part of their broader commitment to upholding the league's integrity in eradicating illegal gambling influences. The investigation and subsequent legal action were supported by evidence, including recorded conversations and testimonies. This scandal sent shockwaves through the basketball community and reinforced the country's stance against any form of corruption in sports leagues.
To those watching, no, para sa mga nanonood today, ang sports ay hindi na lamang isang libangan, kundi isang, such as something for leisure, but something that people actually can sometimes make money off from, through sports betting. For athletes naman, ang issue ay may chance na rin ng it sort of distorts the game, no? Because of betting, athletes who are supposed to do their best are sometimes compelled to perform otherwise to get financial gain.
Yes, it's an ugly reality, or a reality na lang talaga sa atin ngayon. Bukod pa rito, ang sports ay hindi lamang isang paligsahan kung sino ang mas malakas o mas magaling. Ito rin ay usapin kung anong koponan ang tunay na naghanda. Sino nag-aral ng galaw ng kalaban at gumawa ng strategies, kumbaga, gamit ang analytics, data science, at statistics. I think no decent team now, decent sports program, will thrive without an analytics component to their game, I think.
So thanks, Peach, no? So lahat yan pag-uusapan natin, and we have people over here who are going to help us understand these things, so these concepts. First is a writer on the Tiebreaker Times, covering various aspects of basketball, from the NBA to the UAP, with a focus on analytics. He is also part of the coaching staff of the UP men's basketball team. Welcome to the show, Coach Ryan Alba.
Idol, my idol. Actually, even before Coach Ryan Alba became coach, sinusubaybayan ko na talaga. Ikaw sa Twitter. Ang daming nakakamiss sa'yo dahil yung mga analysis mo sa games, actually. So, makakasama din natin ang isang estudyante galing sa College of Human Kinetics. Bakit kamo? He not only loves the UAP and has been a passionate fan since 2011, studying and discussing the games with his friends. Narito din siya sa programa bilang resident researcher namin, si Lorenzo Antonio Tuanyo. Hi.
Hello po.
Hi, Anzo. So, simulan na natin ng discussion. So, how do you think nagagamit ng teams, ng mga koponan, ang data mula sa mga analytics and statistics upang bumuo ng strategies sa mga games sila. I think Coach Ryan is the one best suited
So
for this one.
the way we use it in the MBT and with my team in the PBA is we use it to know what the strengths and the weaknesses of both our team and the opponent is. So what are they good at? Where do they like to go? We use the numbers basically to figure out what we want to take away and what we want to give up. And on the same end for us, we like to use the numbers to see what plays are working, how often times do we run a certain play, and how many times does that succeed, and whether we should use it more or less and adjust our game plan based on that. So that's essentially one of the uses, especially before the game po.
Actually nga, parang ang naalala ko nga dyan, ang unang awareness ko sa use ng statistics, actually sa Hollywood, alala ko yung movie ni Brad Pitt.
Moneyball, yes.
Yeah,
Moneyball,
Moneyball,
yeah.
wherein, actually it was for, I think, baseball.
Apo.
For baseball, wherein statistics were used for recruitment.
Apo.
For recruitment, no? We also use that for recruitment. Hindi ba tayo ganun ka?
Ano po, actually po, what I do po is I keep a database of every player from the juniors division.
So ginagamit na rin.
Since I think season 77. So what I do is parang preliminary smell check lang po. See if there's a player that's interesting. See if it's a player that we want to watch a little bit closer. But really, it's just another tool po, and it's just another thing to help us identify talent quicker. So, for example, if there's a player, I like to use this example po, si Noy, who's part of our team. I feel like he went under the cracks because he wasn't used much with his juniors team. But when he did play, there was something there. So on a permanent basis, he showed signs that he could become a good player. He just didn't get that opportunity.
Noy, meaning
Remogat po, apo. So now, I mean, look at what he's done.
Superstar level.
So essentially, we use that to see na maybe we missed some guys. Maybe there are other guys that go under the radar that could be more than what they seem to be.
You mentioned how stats data is being used for recruitment, no? But for the coaches who map out strategies for the game or maybe in game, no? What particular stats do coaches look at when they prepare for a game plan for an opponent?
I'm not gonna reveal all of our
Nga naman, Jen.
but ano po, what
Season pa tayo.
But one of the things we monitor, for example, is how efficient the team scores on a per possession basis and how efficient we hold our opponents on a per possession basis. We have certain benchmarks where we want to be at. We have like a historical marker where, for example, how well did the dominant Ateneo teams of the early 2010s performed. And so we have a standard where we want to be at, where we want to always be at least close to.
Natutuwa ako. Kasi parang sa mga gustong maging involved sa sports, pero kung magaling ka sa math, meron kang role. Sa ano pang, diba? Math is life.
And ano nga po hindi nga magaling sa math.
Hindi ka pa magaling sa math?
4 po ako sa math 17.
Huwag nga natin mag-reveal ng mga grades ngayon sa math. No?
But it's really not so much the computations themselves, but finding the interrelationships. You mentioned efficiency a lot, no? And just for the benefit of our viewers, can you give us an example of what an efficient basketball player looks like? Kasi paminsan kasi nakita lang na basta makashoot ng marami. So what is an efficient basketball player like?
So efficiency, at least for me, is a player that can consistently do what you want them to do. It's someone who, on a given possession, you can trust to give you the best results possible. So a good example there would be Q for us. Q has been so reliable na as when he gets the ball where you want him to, there's a very, very high chance that he either puts the ball in the basket himself or creates an advantage for us to help someone make an easy basket. So efficiency can just be boiled down into this statement, I guess, na how the consistency of a player in getting the results you want on a normal possession.
Yun ba yung plus-minus?
The plus-minus po is different. Plus-minus po is, ano lang po siya, when you're on the court, how much did your team win by? So if a player is plus 10, that means in his minutes po, in sa minutes po niya na yun, nanalo po yung team ng 10 points.
So now we see how coaches and staff use data, no? Question for Sian, as a fan, no? who watches sports, do you think most fans now are more conscious about stats and data compared to maybe when you first started watching sports years ago?
So when I first started watching sports, I was just focused on who was scoring or who was getting the blocks, because as a typical fan, you would always want to see the very athletic highlights or mainly the aesthetics or the tall guys. But as I grew older, learning more about basketball, of course, I started to look at the tangibles, the plus, the minuses. It really helps whenever there's a stats sheet. So you're gonna see the plus, the minus, for example.
Yun na nga, yung plus minus. Noong una, hindi ko naiintindihan. No?
So as what coach said, yun nga, for example, pinasok si
nga.
player A, parang ito yung makakontribute niya. I would always think to myself na, aside from the coaches making their analysis, I would always want to make my own analysis to give my own point of view in how would I want the game to be run if I was the one in their possession. Because it's interesting. Kasi,
Ang plus minus essentially, if correct me if I'm wrong, no? Sometimes kasi what a player does on the court doesn't reflect in any stats,
Yes.
no? Maybe he wasn't able to get a steal, maybe he wasn't able to get a shot block or anything. But he for the whole duration of his stay in the court for 5 minutes, if the team suddenly builds up a 10-point lead, dun makikita na may value pala yung player na yan. Sabi nga nila, can you maybe, coach, talk about why sometimes the eye test and data, do they complement each other? Do they clash? How do you reconcile these
I
things?
think po, it's a tool po. Analytics is only just a tool. You actually have to know the game and understand it for you to properly use it. But what's good about it is it helps you see problems. It's not the solution po. It helps you find problems early. So you can check a 5-man lineup, see that, why are they losing when these 5 players are on? So that's when you look into the film. That's when you look into what actually happened in the game. Find out why they're not working, what you can tweak to help these 5 guys. Or, just if these 5 don't work, who else works? Who can we put in place of them? Parang ganun po.
So, coach, besides looking at the numbers, you really go through the video
Opo.
as well.
On both of my teams po in pros and I serve as video din po. So I help scout teams, I help know what plays they run, and I also help our players, for example, see how they perform, see what their common mistakes are. So analytics is just one part of it po, and the numbers are meaningless now po if you don't really understand what's going on the court din
Pero
po.
ako may tanong ko, Casey, about the numbers. Mataya ka ba nagpa-participate ka ba sa fantasy?
No, but I don't participate, but I know some people in my life that would often
Parang
ask
a
my
friend,
opinion.
laging madami na nagsasabi niyan, a friend. Not asking for a friend. O sige, speaking for a friend. So,
Yun
and
po.
how does fantasy work? Sa mga, I'm sure madaming may alam, pero ako hindi ko alam. So, treat me like that. And how does ginagamit ng stats dyan, di ba? Yung the numbers that the coaches use are also the numbers that people use in fantasy.
Yes po.
So, paano yun?
So, for example, before the start of the season, so you would draft certain
This is the NBA season, for example.
Yeah.
Sa NBA lang ba ngayon may fantasy?
As far as I know, I think sa ngayon po, yun pa lang po ate alam ko.
Sa basketball at least.
Yeah, sa
Basketball,
But there's
oo.
also football, actually.
Meron na?
American football po.
American football.
American football.
So you would draft players. So for example, pipiliin mo si, let's say, Dalton Connect of the Lakers. Pwede mo siya kunin ng mura. Tapos,
may bayad. I mean, virtual money.
Yeah po, kasi po dinadraft niyo sila. Tapos, since wala masyado kukuha sa kanya, titignan mo kung paano siya mag-perform. Na, especially, I mean, when you drop 37, ang daming kumita ng malaki niyan, especially if you had them early on. So you're basically, on the statistical side, you're gonna look at the risk.
So ano yung mga stats na nakalagay sa fantasy na ginagamit?
So you got your typical points, rebound, assists, steals, and blocks. Kasi yung mga plus-minus, kasi more on the tactical side pa yan, you really need to have explanation and deeper understanding of the game to know what its true purpose is. So, ayun, magda-draft po kayo ng ilang players, tas depending on how they perform in the season, kung gaano kataas ang makuha mong pera.
Yan, no? It's a nice segue to the next topic, which is pera.
Yeah. And just for a while sa fantasy. So NBA fantasy kasi, the real serious players, they use Excel files, no?
Ha?
They use,
Talaga?
I use Excel
Meron
to,
ako.
to,
Nagpa-fantasy ka rin, Jen?
Database.
I use Excel files to plot out the
Seryoso
performance of
naman.
players. How many, so, but in coaching, coach though, what are there software or is there applications that you use specifically for basketball?
I have a huge Excel sheet
Uh-huh.
for me too.
Tignan mo.
But
Buti lang nagtabi kayo, mga nerds ng the basketball.
we also use services po that help us filter out the videos and collect it easier.
Okay.
So proprietary software po like Synergy or Instat. We have our own subscriptions for that po.
Okay.
Grabe ang
High-tech na.
Ang high-tech na talaga ngayon ng sports. Samantalang dati tayo, nanonood lang tayo sa TV, tas that's it. No? So, paano so now, this is a nice segue to the next.
Oh.
How analytics is tayaan, di ba? Betting. So, in the US, actually, medyo they're legalizing na sports betting. There are sites and there are na pwede, like DraftKings and those, and it's very big business.
Yes po.
Sa Pilipinas, hindi pa. Hindi pa. O meron na ba?
I know there's Arena Plus or sports betting for MPBL.
And
And-
that's highly legal?
And Arena Plus PH in the PBA. It's actually an official partner.
Ang nakikita ko lang yung sa SOCMED, yung parang individual sa naghahamunan. Tapos mag-PPM na lang sila. So, but that's one is legal kasi it's between the two of you, but not yung institutionalized betting. So, meron na pala. So, I didn't know that na meron.
As a coach though, who's involved in the game, so how do you view all of these betting sites and people betting on the games, UAP games or PBA games? Do you have mixed feelings about this or?
It's definitely mixed feelings because on one hand, it puts eyes on the sport, it gives you additional revenue, and syempre, wala naman sports if walang fans. So it's another way of bringing fans and attention in, but at the same time, it can be harmful, especially if, you know, the realities of the game. We've already talked about, diba kanina, the 2019 MPBL case, that's also like something that we don't want to happen, but with sports betting everywhere, with ads for gambling in your phone every time you open YouTube or whatever, it's really gotten harder to avoid. And it's something that we need to balance out both in the sports industry because it's sports betting can be good but can also be harmful.
Kayo siyan, sa fantasy, nagpatayaan din kayo, di ba?
I mean, just connecting to what Coach said, ayun nga, it's nice when you put attention to the sport kasi ayun nga, mas okay yung may revenue kaysa wala. But, yun nga, a lot of fans, they're gonna be like their quote-unquote analysis kasi maglalagay kasi sila sa social media parang, ay hindi, kaya lang yun ang gawin plus-minus, ay bet, lagay natin yan, di ba? Tapos, ito yung result. Either magagalit sa, o matutuwa sila.
Napaaway
That's
ka
a
na.
good thing to bring up siya, no? For betting kasi ngayon, hindi lang pusta yan sa sino mananalo. May tinatawag na plus-minus.
Yeah.
Can you guys explain what plus-minus is when you bet on a game?
Oo nga. Paano yun? Yung parang merong parang range of the score? Ano yun? Ibig sabihin nun?
So I'll probably give the summarized. So for example, there's the plus and minus. Let's say, sabihin natin Team A and Team B. So Team A is plus, Team B is minus. So yung Team A, pag naka-plus siya, he's the underdog. So kung maglalagay ka ng ganitong amount, mataas ang makukuha mo. Pag si Team B, which is the minus, siya yung favored na manalo. So mataas ang chance niyang manalo. So dahil dyan, you have to put a certain amount in order for you to even get your money back.
So parang sa golf, yung may handicap.
Essentially po.
Di ba kasi pag golfer ka, the higher your minus means you're a better player than others. So yung Team B na minus, yun yung better team?
Oh no, yung Team B na
Favored
minus.
Favored.
Opo.
So, for concretely lang, for example, if Team A has a +5,
Yeah.
no? What result will give the winner if you bet on Team A and he's +5? What result will give you your money? I mean, if it's 105 to 100, what does it mean? You have to get 104, 100?
Math yan eh. So,
Ano
na
po?
natin.
So they're +5. I would guess na parang if you add 5 to their score and they win, then you get your money po.
Okay. So it's that maraming nuances ang betting, no? Here kasi would you guys know if talagang how transparent, kasi sa NBA it's very transparent. The NBA is really involved in the betting. In fact, a
Parang
player
hindi nila nilabanan eh. Nandiyan na eh.
but
So might as well
but they monitor it to such an extent that they through data and algorithms, they'll know if there's kumbaga
Anomalies.
anomalous and suspicious movements. And in fact, an NBA player was just dismissed, no, from the league for, you know.
Sino?
Yung
Sige,
si
sino?
John T. Porter.
Yeah, John T.
John T.
Porter.
Porter, he plays for the Raptors po.
And what happened there?
He was making side bets on his own performances.
Yung sa fantasy?
Yeah, kasi there's some like it was posted in social media na pinapakita na sinasadyang yung imintis yung mga tirang niya. So, there was an instance na sinadyang yung imintis yung tirang niya. Tapos, nagalit siya kasi pumasok.
may mga in the
That's
US
funny.
kasi, you can bet on everything, whether a player scores higher or lower than his average, whether he plays the higher or lower than his average minutes. No? So
Hindi
in
mo
what
lang masama.
Oh,
Kasi ako, since it's being legalized, I am, it's neither good nor bad. Anything is not diba, as in all things, it's neither good nor bad. It's depende on how you use it. So parang, yan, analytics for betterment, and even to bet on it, sige, diba, if it's for fun. Pero yung to actually affect your sportsmanship, medyo naman mahirap yun. So ano nangyari sa kanya?
He's banned from the NBA.
for life.
For life?
Yeah.
Yes.
Banned na po siya.
It's zero tolerance.
Tama naman.
Kasi like in this case though, in the Philippine context, hindi kasi malinaw, hindi very transparent. But so now you have suspicions. For example, di ba coach, pag may may plus minus in a UAP game, let's say plus 8.5, and then with a minute to go, you're down by 8 points, and then kahit wala nang saysay na mag-shoot, bilang mag-shoot ka
Para makuha mo
manalo
yung,
ng 9.
para makuha mo yung ano.
So, what you say to people who always suspect that when there are things that this happen, do you think may basis yung suspicions na, you know, people are somehow influencing the results of the games?
This
Yan yung mga
is
bagay na madaling mag-akusa, mahirap patunayan di ba?
it's really something that it's hard to prove, especially it's in like a case-by-case basis. Because sometimes players just miss, sometimes they don't know what the score is. It's really hard to say for sure. But for example, in the organization I'm part of, gusto talaga namin na we have to trust everyone unconditionally. Na we have to build trust with each other, na pang we have each other's back, na we're not gonna screw the others up for our own selfish interests.
But can math, kasi kanina diba you can say that math helps you but can math actually, in time, historical data can prove na parang na-skew talaga siya, na hindi siya, ano?
If there's a large enough pattern of repeated behavior, then I guess you could say na you could suspect someone, but I don't think it's 100% certain even with math po.
That's of course, you as a lawyer, it's the same. They're proven, they're innocent until they're proven guilty.
Kaya nga sabi ko madaling mag-akusa, mahirap patunayan.
But the numbers by themselves cannot establish it. It could probably support the theory, but not totally prove it. No?
Because here, the best proof would be evidence of the bets themselves and the
yung
money
mga,
received.
Kumbaga hindi na math, kundi
Hard evidence.
Other kinds. That's true.
With that, no, how do you think, what can be done to, well, sort of address the accusations of match fixing or prevent match fixing at dayaan pagdating sa sports, especially sa UAP? How do you think this can be prevented?
Honestly, the best thing is establishing trust with your players, letting them know that you should be in this together. Na the biggest thing here is we have to incentivize them away from those actions, that they're not just playing for money, they're not just playing for profit or their personal game, they're playing for something else. They're playing for their schools, they're playing for their teammates, they're playing for themselves. Na we just have to find a way to steer them to the proper direction, to not be blinded
Lalo na
by...
pag school.
Opo, especially pag school.
Kasi iba pag pros, di ba? Siyempre. Pero still sports is sports. So ikaw Sian, so what do you think is the integrity of the sports affected by betting?
Yeah. You think it should be legalized na lang ang betting or
Ikaw, as a fan?
as a fan?
Well, honestly, it's out there eh. People will always make their bets. Pero para sa akin, as if you're the player, you represent the school at the end of the day. So parang just as much as possible, establish trust within the family, yung teammates mo, and just play the game the right way. Kasi
May delineation between amateur sports and professional sports, I would suppose na in
Yes,
terms of even for betting. So madami siyang aspects pa na ang sarap pag-usapan about it kasi pero it's very complicated. And it's a field na lalaki at lalaki pa ang kanyang role.
Yeah. So to our guests, thank you so much for your insights. We learned a lot, especially about numbers. Thank you for telling us how numbers will help develop sports in the Philippines and showing us the positive and negative effects of this. Kaya naman talaga dapat tayo matuto lahat pagdating sa maging responsable, matalinong manonood as athletes and as people who observe the industry.
Yeah. Maraming salamat mga ka-sports sa patuloy na pagsuporta. Sana ay marami kayo natutunan, sama-sama nating unlarin ang mundo ng sports sa Pilipinas. Samahan niyo muna kami sa masusunod naming episode. Muli, this is TVUP and we bring you
Inside the Games.